Right then guys, it is PSL here for the 33rd episode in my Stewart Manager career mode on Grand Prix World. And this is going to be the second to last episode in the 2002 season. A season where heading into it I was genuinely quite confident Stewart were going to win the championship. That's looking unlikely now. The Constructors' Championship, that's pretty much won by Ferrari. There's very little we can do. I mean, in fact, we'd have to get 1-2 finishes pretty much to the end of the season, and Ferrari would have to get a lot of bad luck. They've won that, almost certainly. The Drivers' Championship, that is remarkably close. Moreira leading the way on 62 points, Frentzen 2 points back, Fisichella a further point back. 3 points separate the top 3 drivers in the Drivers' Championship. Damon Hill's in 4th, Alexander Wurz, the second Stewart driver, he's in 5th. Unfortunately, Wurz has definitely been the second best driver. Frentzen's been better, but Frentzen has also been a lot luckier. But honestly, Wurz to be that far away from Damon Hill is actually quite disappointing. That's quite a downgrade. Arrows will be using Mechachrome engines on a customer deal. Well, actually, I don't think Mechachrome offer any deal other than a customer deal, but Arrows will be using Mechachrome engines next year. That's a downgrade, bearing in mind this year they're on a partnership deal with Mercedes-Benz. The problem is Mercedes-Benz, they'll be supplying us again next year, Benetton in the second works deal, but Prost have got the partnership deal, so Arrows have gone to Mechachrome, and actually no one's using Mechachrome this year, and understandably so, because the Mechachrome engine is just not good, hence why Benetton and Williams, they left it behind years ago because of course they used it in 1998. And actually in 1998 it would have been an abandoned 1-year-old Renault engine. Now it's an abandoned 5-year-old Renault engine. It's... in the real world it would be totally... I mean, it would be awful because it would be 5 years out of date with no or next to no development on it, so it wouldn't even be feasible to use. But hey, Arrows are using it regardless. Tyrrell will be getting tyres from Michelin, Prost from Bridgestone, and these headlines, these typical pun related news headlines, tyre deal, roll on next year. Anyway, Williams have produced a full sponsorship package. They're not the only team to. We have, if nobody else has, but I think quite a few teams have announced that. We did it ages ago, which says a lot, to be honest. Tom Walkinshaw is motorsport fans' least favourite manager, and Frank Williams, the manager of the month. That's a turn up, bearing in mind it's normally Jean Todt, although Giancarlo Minardi won it fairly recently. And it's not like Frank Williams is... it's not like it's totally strange for Frank Williams to win it, bearing in mind this game is biased towards managers who run top teams, so Jean Todt, Ron Dennis, of course, Frank Williams. Williams was still a force to be reckoned with in 1998. It's not totally out of the blue, but honestly, I'm just glad it's not Jean Todt at this point. I will be happy for anyone to win it. Even Ron Dennis. I don't think Ron Dennis has won it this year at all. I wouldn't even mind if he won it, and I was getting sick of Ron Dennis winning it all the time in previous years. The 3 circuits on this calendar where it's more likely to rain than anywhere else is Silverstone, that's come and gone, Suzuka, that's at the end of the season, but the third one is Spa. That's where we're heading to now, so I'm going to pummel all of our setup points into rain because, I mean, I have no idea if it's going to rain, but I know it's more likely to rain there than anywhere else, and if it does rain, we're going to have a car perfect for the job. And that's the thing, is I really do hope it does rain, because Moreira, Frentzen's biggest championship rival, is awful in the rain. I think he's got a 1 out of 5 wet weather stat, and I think Wurz, Frentzen, Fisichella, I think they're all 3 out of 5 in the rain, or probably there or thereabouts. I mean, they're not Hill or Schumacher or Hakkinen, and that's the thing, is even with a perfect wet weather car, I reckon we would still... it would be tough to beat Damon Hill, especially. Actually, Hill's been incredibly quick this year, both in dry and wet races, but I mean, I just hope it's a wet race, because we do need some luck, and really Frentzen needs to take the lead of the Drivers' Championship back again, because In a dry, normal race, honestly, Moreira has it, I think. And I don't understand how. I don't understand how he's quicker than Fisichella. I don't even really understand how Ferrari is so quick anyway, but Moreira's actually a genuine threat. And I don't understand how, but if it rains, we should be okay. Fisichella will still be a concern, but Moreira, he won't be anymore. That's assuming it rains. And that's the thing is, look how good our car is. Maxed out Mercedes engine. Fuel, of course, well, in fact, nobody's got a works fuel deal this year, so that's kind of irrelevant. But if it's dry, we've got perfect tyres. If it's intermediate tyre conditions, we've got perfect tyres. If it's wet tyre conditions, we've got perfect tyres. Now, Ferrari do beat us on a driver aid front, but the FIA amazingly actually approved a new driver aid from us. Staggering, I know, because the FIA seem to turn down pretty much everything I ever give to them, but no, we've now got a level 2 active suspension unit, so that's one minor upgrade we can carry into the Belgian Grand Prix, but honestly, it doesn't really change the fact that, quite frankly, I am banking on it raining, and if it doesn't rain, let's hope we're quicker than Moreira. Let's hope Frentzen can just somehow beat, you know, the guy who is the championship leader, or maybe Moreira can have a retirement. I mean, honestly, I'm banking on, yeah, Moreira to under-deliver, to be honest, because Celso Moreira, what a guy. Well, anyway, let's see how the 2002 Belgian Grand Prix plays out. Well, that's not exactly ideal, an overcast qualifying session, but qualifying, it doesn't matter, to be honest. I mean, as we've seen time and time again throughout this series, the 2002 Monaco Grand Prix is a case in point. Qualifying doesn't massively matter in this game. In Monaco, Mika Salo took pole position, finished the race in 5th, if I remember correctly. Certainly he lost a fair few positions, and he finished behind his teammate. That's at Monaco. Mika Salo from pole position lost multiple positions, including one to his teammate. Qualifying doesn't matter, so a dry qualifying session, that's disappointing but not the end of the world. I'm still banking on it being wet on Sunday, but let's see how well we do in qualifying, because if it is a dry race, then this will give us some barometer as to how competitive we can expect to be on Sunday. So hopefully we do. Oh no. 8th and 9th. How did that happen? Fisichella on pole, Michael Schumacher 2nd, Moreira 3rd. Esteban Tuero 4th, then you've got Rainbow in 5th. That's actually... how's he done that? Do you know what, weirdly, that actually gives me confidence. It shouldn't do. You know, Frentzen and Wirtz qualifying behind Pierre Rainbow. That shouldn't give me confidence, but... I mean, if Hakkinen was slower than Rainbow in qualifying, it proves that qualifying means absolutely nothing. Pole position was a low 1:49. Redon a high 1 minute 55. Alesi in the 1 minute 56s. I'm going to pause here for a second because I want to calculate what the 107% cutoff time is, because Alesi and Redon, both Jordan drivers, must be close. I know it's a long lap, but they're several seconds off. Okay, they are, I was going to say comfortably ahead. That's not really true. I mean, the 107% time is a 1 minute 56.865. To be within a second of being knocked out from, you know, not just from qualifying, but from the entire Grand Prix weekend, to be within a second of being knocked out on the basis of you being too slow, I mean, that's bad. And I swear Jordan are getting worse as the season goes on relative to the rest of the grid, or certainly to the back markers. 1.5 seconds off of Sarrazin. They started the season in a very bad place. Couldn't really have fallen backwards, you would assume, yet they've fallen backwards. Yes! A light rain race. Brilliant. Hopefully that can redeem us. 8th and 9th, that's not ideal, but we've got a perfect car for the conditions. Hopefully a podium finish. I mean, I really honestly doubt we beat Schumacher, or Damon Hill especially actually, I mean Schumacher was quick in qualifying, Damon Hill's been electric this season. Hakkinen, maybe we could beat him, but I mean this more or less guarantees, unless something goes catastrophically wrong, we'll score points and Moreira won't. Fisichella still could, but come on, hopefully. Come on, we've got maxed out intermediate tyres, a perfect car for the conditions. Surely we cannot screw this up. We have slightly screwed it up, but okay, now that's disappointing, but honestly, I hate to sound callous, but honestly, I don't actually care how well Wirtz does. We're not fighting for anything in the Constructors' Championship. I mean, the sad truth is that had we had a 1-2 finish, we probably could have actually amazingly dragged ourselves vaguely back into Constructors' Championship contention, but that's done. I mean, it's totally done. It was done before we entered this Grand Prix. It's definitely done now. There's actually... I don't think Ferrari have mathematically won it, but I don't think they're far off. I mean, that was a dying cause anyway. Fact of the matter is, Heinz-Harald Frentzen second in the 2002 Belgian Grand Prix. And I don't think either Ferrari driver made the end, actually. I don't see either of them. Let's scroll down. Let's have a look. Fisichella's out. Moreira out. Oh, this is brilliant. The one race. I mean, this is brilliant, actually. I mean, I'm disappointed that Frentzen didn't win, but, I mean, he finished behind Michael Schumacher in a wet race. Schumacher was obviously going to be tough, given the conditions. Fisichella out with a hydraulics issue. Moreira out with an engine issue. Heinz-Harald Frentzen has now got the Drivers' Championship lead. Not by a massive margin, but by a margin, at least. I think 4 points over Moreira and 7 over Fisichella. That's not a lot, but it's... I mean, it's enough. There's only 10 points on offer for a race win. Anyway, I probably should actually list the rest of the results, because it's just occurred to me I haven't done it. Schumacher won the 2002 Belgian Grand Prix by half a second over Heinz-Harald Frentzen. Mika Hakkinen in third, and 50 seconds, just under 50 seconds behind Michael Schumacher. Eddie Irvine for Minardi in fourth. That's pretty good going, although Tuero and Takaki both impressed me, to be honest. I mean, I would not back them in a wet race. Tuero or Takaki, I don't know what their wet weather stats are, but I doubt high. Same for Pierre Rainbow, and he still finished in 7th, ahead of Mika Salo, Collard, Montemini. Minardi have got a works deal. Plucky Minardi are a works team. Yeah, sure, for Peugeot, but honestly it doesn't matter because the funding, the priority, everything. I mean, that's an astonishing deal for Minardi. I can understand why they've left it late because, you know, to guarantee a works deal, that is a massive step forward for the team. So that's good news for Minardi. Ferrari must now be certain to win this year's Constructors' Championship. I agree, but honestly, I'm actually glad the game says that because more often than not, as we've seen throughout this series, whenever the game mentions so-and-so must be certain to win the championship, they often lose it. Tyrrell will be buying fuel from AGIP, as will Prost, although the wording of that implies that Tyrrell have got it on a customer deal and Prost on a partnership. Sauber have gone into a partnership with Mugen Honda, pulling away... I just read the headline from that and then used it in a sentence. No, ignore the headline. Sauber, they do currently use Ferrari engines, I believe. So that's a switch to Mugen Honda. Ferrari... In fact, actually, that news story, Ferrari is in a position to run away with this year's Constructors' Championship. They're now certain to win it. Okay, duplicating stories. Again, you're tempting fate, and I'm loving it. Keep doing it, please. Arrows have produced a full sponsorship package. Yep, okay, that's not that special. Even Jordan have, actually. I mean, the only time that news is ever really special is during the first season. Past then, it's not really that big of a deal. Hang on, Jean Todt, least favourite manager. Wow, that is a fall from grace. Motorsport fans who all year long, pretty much all series long, have adored Jean Todt. Motorsport fans have picked Jean Todt as their least favourite manager. What a fall from grace. Meanwhile, David Richards of Benetton has been named the manager of the month. We've got the Drivers' Championship lead. Can we keep it? Well, I'd like to think so, bearing in mind we're heading off to Monza, the Temple of Speed. And what have we got? We've got a power advantage, a massive one over Ferrari. Well, actually, we've got a fairly big power advantage over every team apart from Arrows and McLaren. But Ferrari, they used a Ford engine and it's just... I mean, it's a okay engine, but in terms of raw horsepower, it just lacks. And it cost them in Hockenheim. I am hoping it's going to cost them here at their home Grand Prix. So, let's see the 2002 Italian Grand Prix, one which, ironically, I think is going to go well for us and go badly for the Italian team. Nope, okay, I guess scrap logic. Fisichella on pole position for the 2002 Italian Grand Prix. Heinz-Harald Frentzen second, Damon Hill third, Moreira fourth, Wirtz seventh. Okay, so Ferrari, I mean, it's not a whitewash. I mean, Fisichella only 26 thousandths of a second quicker than Frentzen. Although, quick is quicker. I mean, Frentzen won the Belgian Grand Prix by half a second. Gaps don't really matter, it's position that matters. I mean, this is a power circuit. And Hockenheim, they really didn't do well. I can't remember, to be honest, the specific results, but I do remember it was one of the few races where we quite blatantly had an advantage over Ferrari, and I thought that was going to be the case here. I know it's qualifying, but I mean, we're still in a reasonable position, and honestly, Fisichella's less of a threat. Moreira is the real concern, but I just don't want to write off Moreira. In a race, anything can happen. And usually what happens this season at least is Moreira wins. Somehow, against all logic, but then again, I mean, the mere fact we're 2nd and 7th flies in the face of logic. McLaren 9th and 11th. No, 12th, sorry. Arrows aren't in the top 13, although that's not really that big of a shock. Having said that, I can't remember where they qualified for the German Grand Prix, but Magnussen 15th, Rosset 16th, distinctly ahead of Prost, Sauber, Jordan in the high 128s. Oh, would you look at that? 2 light rain races in a row. Okay, but that's good because Moreira was likely out of it. Fisichella, well, Fisichella, I don't know. I mean, this is the thing, is the base wet weather setup was 6 points. 6 out of 10. I upped it to 8. In hindsight, of course, I probably should have upped it to 10 out of 10, but I didn't expect it to rain at Monza. I just prepared just in case. It was more of a contingency than anything else. I really hope we don't have retirement. 0 wear, 0 damage. Very good reliability on all of our components. Hopefully, we should be okay. Okay is the right word. I mean, that's it. It's just okay. Frentzen in 3rd, Fisichella 5th, Moreira 7th, actually closer to the points than I was expecting, to be honest. Although, to be fair, hang on, let's work this out. So, Fisichella was, what, 7 points behind? He's now 9 points behind. Moreira is now 8 points behind. Yeah, that's still not comfortable, but it is good. I mean, I do get worried because Wirtz has had another retirement. Is it car related? Because if it is, no, it's driver related. I mean, if it was car related, it wouldn't fill me with confidence because the amount of times Wirtz has retired. If Frentzen retires in the next Grand Prix or the one after, or if he retired in this one or the Belgian Grand Prix, that's pretty much it, to be honest. Until Frentzen gets 11 points ahead, I can't feel totally comfortable and totally safe. Who knows, he may never well get 11 points ahead, but at that point it won't matter. Hill and Schumacher, I think, are equally, well, they're equally good in wet weather. They're probably pretty much equally good overall. Schumacher's better, I don't think by a massive margin, but it proves that the Williams is a much better car than the Benetton. Heinz-Harald Frentzen though, third, that's good. I mean, he beat Mika Hakkinen. That's no mean feat. Fisichella in fifth, Irvine. Irvine scoring points again. Actually, Irvine's done a lot for them this season. Collard's been okay. In qualifying especially, Collard's been quite good. But in the races, Irvine has absolutely saved Minardi this year. He scored them points. Heinz-Harald Frentzen 70 points. Moreira 62 points. Fisichella 61 points. At the start of this episode, we were behind Moreira. At the end of it, we're in the lead. Frentzen leading the Drivers' Championship by 8 points. The thing is though, is I don't doubt for a single second Frentzen on pace alone can keep ahead of Moreira and Fisichella. But it's not pace I'm worried about, it's reliability. Our engine is 10 out of 10 reliability. All of our technology components bar 1 are 4 out of 5 reliability. We've got probably the most reliable car on the grid. I know Wirtz would beg to differ, but to be fair, quite a few of the retirements, including this one, were his own fault. I don't know whether Frentzen's been lucky or Wirtz has been unlucky, but if Frentzen retires and Moreira wins, suddenly Moreira's back on top. That's the thing, is we're in a good position, but by no means insurmountable. Ferrari haven't yet officially won the 2002 Constructors' Championship, but we would need 1-2 finishes in each of the next 2 races, and actually I'd just settle for a Wirtz finish. Never mind a second place finish, but we would need 1-2 finishes in both of the next 2 races, and Ferrari would have to score a maximum of a handful of points. I mean, realistically, we're not going to win, but theoretically we could. Williams are fairly safe in third. Benetton now have overtaken Tyrrell for fourth. So that is some late resurgence, but it's only because all of the rain-affected races have come recently and we've still got Suzuka to come. And actually, I wouldn't necessarily bet against it raining for the Luxembourg Grand Prix at the Nürburgring, because that can happen. It's not one of the big 3. It's not Silverstone, Spa or Suzuka, but it's not impossible. And it rained at Monza and I really didn't count on that happening. Well, I hoped it would, and I even partially set up the car for it, but I wouldn't have put money on it happening. If it's dry races, if the final 2 races are dry, Tyrrell could potentially take 4th back away from Benetton, but honestly, 5th place in the Constructors' Championship for Tyrrell, beating McLaren, that would still be a phenomenal result. And Minardi, I mean, talking about phenomenal results, Minardi, Tyrrell and Minardi, the 2 teams which were on their knees in 1998. Tyrrell 5th with 27 points, Minardi 7th, they've scored points on multiple occasions and multiple points. 7 points to their name, only 10 behind McLaren. And that's the end of this episode, so I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, be sure to leave a like, comment down below, and be sure to watch the next episode where we might finally, after 34 episodes, finally win a championship. Hopefully, I really hope we do. We've been going since 1998, 2002, please let that be the year. So I'll see you guys in the next episode for the championship showdown between Heinz-Harald Frentzen, Giancarlo Fisichella, and, amazingly, Celso Moreira.